At the end of the 1980s, Italy faced an obvious problem. Its fleet of outdated American M47 Patton tanks no longer met the country's defense requirements. Although Italy shared no common border with the Warsaw Pact states, Italian leadership feared that in a full-scale conflict, Soviet forces could rapidly advance through Austria and threaten northern Italy. In that geopolitical reality, the main criteria for new armored vehicles became high mobility, maintainability, and relatively low production cost, characteristics in which wheeled combat vehicles had a clear advantage over heavy tracked tanks. Italian engineers deliberately studied foreign experience, above all French and South African. French chassis and six-wheeled armored cars proved themselves in long-range raids, while the South African Rucat demonstrated the advantages of the eight-wheeled layout: better cross-country mobility, greater payload, and relative survivability. Based on these lessons and the mobility requirements, the concept of an Italian wheeled tank destroyer was born, a vehicle able to deploy quickly, repel sudden landings, and buy time for the mobilization of main armored forces. The project was implemented through the joint efforts of national defense firms, the Iveco Automotive Group, Hull and Power Pack, Otto Melara, Turret and Armament, and Galileo Avionica, onboard electronics, and the fire control system. Such cooperation made it possible to combine the experience and competencies of several manufacturers in one project and to ensure continuity within the national industry. Within the program, 9 prototypes were built in 1987-1988. After successful trials, serial production of the B1 Centauro began in 1991. The Italian Army received roughly 400 vehicles. Deliveries were made in 3 batches. The third batch featured an extended rear section by about 22 centimeters and a larger dismounted troop compartment sized for 8 fully equipped infantry. The Centauro B1 combat vehicle is an 8-wheeled armored car with a division of roles, mobility, and speed in place of heavy armor. The crew consists of 4: commander, driver, gunner, and loader. The dimensions and characteristics of the classic version are as follows: hull length 8.56 meters, width 3.50 meters, height 2.74 meters, combat weight about 25 tons. The Iveco V6 turbo engine develops 520 horsepower, giving a maximum road speed of 105 kilometers per hour and a range of about 800 kilometers. The vehicle can negotiate vertical obstacles up to 0.5 meters, trenches up to 2.0 meters wide, and water obstacles up to 1.20 meters deep. The primary weapon of the first Centauros was a 105mm rifled gun by Otto Melara. The gun carried 40 rounds of ammunition, 14 of which were stored in the turret and the remainder in the hull. Secondary armament included a coaxial 7.62mm machine gun and a 12.7mm anti-aircraft machine gun. The total small arms ammunition load was about 4,000 rounds. The gun could use standard NATO ammunition, including armor-piercing, fin-stabilized sub-caliber rounds. Thanks to an improved aiming and fire control system, the vehicle could engage even low-flying helicopters and featured a high first-shot hit probability. In theory, the Centauro can fire accurately on the move, but because of the gun's significant recoil, it is preferable to fire from a stationary position. The hull and turret were produced from all-welded steel armor. The frontal protection provided resistance to 20mm shells, while the vehicle was protected around its perimeter against 12.7mm rounds. To increase survivability, Centauros were fitted with laser irradiation detection and warning systems and smoke grenade launchers. In later batches, dynamic Roma modules and additional armor plates were added, increasing the vehicle's mass by about 3 tons, but allowing it to resist frontal hits from projectiles up to 40mm caliber. The Centauro was actively used in peacekeeping and expeditionary operations in Somalia, the Balkans, Iraq, and other theaters. In patrol, reconnaissance, and convoy protection tasks, the vehicle proved reliable, economical, and simple to maintain. Thanks to its panoramic observation system and night cameras, the Centauro was often used as a mobile observation post. In real operational conditions against poorly armed insurgents and on escort duty, its mobility and operational range proved extremely useful. However, in confrontations with full armored tank formations and during operations in complex urban and mountainous terrain, the vehicle's insufficient armor and vulnerability to mines and shaped-charge warheads showed their limits. As a tank killer, the Centauro could not always live up to expectations. It was effective as a light-wheeled tank, but could not replace a main battle tank in frontal engagements. Lessons from operational use and new requirements led to the development of a second version, Centauro II, introduced in 2016. The new vehicle became more heavily protected and heavier. Length decreased to 8.26 meters, width to 3.12 meters, height increased to 3.62 meters, and combat weight rose to about 30 tons. Thanks to a new diesel engine producing roughly 720 horsepower, the Centauro II retained a top speed of about 105 kilometers per hour and a range of approximately 800 kilometers. The Centauro II's armament was modernized. It is fitted with a 120 mm low-recoil smoothbore gun, one 12.7 mm heavy machine gun, and one coaxial 7.62 mm machine gun. The turret is crewed by three: commander, gunner, loader, and equipped with a modern battle management display system, panoramic sights with 10x magnification, an infrared camera, and a laser rangefinder. A turret variant with an autoloader is also being developed, in which the autoloading module contains 6 ready-to-fire rounds and a further 6 rounds in the feed drum. Centauro II received enhanced composite protection with the option to fit add-on packages, providing resistance to 40 mm projectiles on the frontal arc and to 14.5 mm ammunition on the sides. Improved mine protection was introduced, along with modern active observation and communication systems. The Centauro became an important project for Italy. The vehicle combined affordability, high mobility, and respectable firepower, and it gave industry experience in integrating weaponry, electronics, and automotive systems into a single product. Nevertheless, it highlighted the fundamental limitation of the wheeled concept when facing heavy tanks. High speed and mobility compensated for lower armor protection. In practice, the Centauro was more often used not as a tank destroyer in the classical sense, but as a multifunctional platform for reconnaissance, security, and fire support, where it proved very successful. The appearance of the Centauro II showed that the designers had taken criticism on board and had strengthened the platform's protection and firepower, turning it into a more versatile combat support asset. The main users of the Centauro have been Italy, Spain, and Jordan. Small batches were also purchased by Oman. The vehicle found its niche within modern armies, where reaction speed, range, and autonomy matter more than maximal ballistic protection. The Centauro remains an important chapter in the history of wheeled armored vehicles, an example of a measured compromise between mobility, firepower, and protection, and a reminder that there are no universal solutions in armored warfare. Each platform is developed for a specific mission and theater of operations.